So we have read about this last and mightiest transformation experienced by King Aswapati. That's what we read about last time. And now we're going to see what is the result for him of that transformation. He has a wonderful series of experiences which occupy the rest of the canto. As one who sets his sail towards mysteried shores, driven through huge oceans by the breath of God, the fathomless below, the unknown around. His soul abandoned the blind star-filled space. Afar from all that makes the measured world, plunging to hidden eternities, it withdrew back from mind's foaming surface to the vasts, voiceless within us in omniscient sleep. Above the imperfect reach of word and thought, beyond the sight that seeks support of form, lost in deep tracts of superconscient light, or voyaging in blank, featureless nothingness, soul in the trackless, incommensurable, or past not self and selflessness, transgressing the dream shores of conscious mind, he reached at last his sempiternal base. On sorrowless heights, no winging cry disturbs. Pure and untouched above this mortal play is spread the spirit's hushed, immobile air. There no beginning is, and there no end. There is the stable force of all that moves. There the aeonic laborer is at rest. There turns no keyed creation in the void, no giant mechanism watched by a soul. There creaks no fate-turned huge machinery. The marriage of evil with good within one breast, the clash of strife in the very clasp of love, the dangerous pain of life's experiment in the values of inconsequence and chance, the peril of mind's gamble throwing our lives as stake in a wager of indifferent gods, and the shifting lights and shadows of the idea falling upon the surface consciousness, and in the dream of a mute witness soul creating the error of a half-seen world where knowledge is a seeking ignorance, life's steps a stumbling series without suit, its aspect of fortuitous design, its equal measure of the true and false. In that immobile and immutable realm, find no access, no cause, no right to live. There only reigns the Spirit's motionless power, poised in itself through still eternity, and its omniscient and omnipotent peace. Thought clashes not with thought, and truth with truth. There is no war of right with rival right. There are no stumbling and half-seeing lives passing from chance to unexpected chance. No suffering of hearts compelled to beat in bodies of the inert inconscience make. Armed with the immune, occult, unsinking fire, the guardians of eternity keep its law forever fixed upon truth's giant base in her magnificent and termless home. We'll start on this side. Will you read, please?
As one who sets his sail towards mysteried shores, driven through huge oceans by the breath of God, the fathomless below, the unknown around, his soul abandoned the blind star-filled space.
Thank you. So again we have the image of the sailor that comes several times in Savitri. Here it's just in this one short sentence. As one who sets his sail. It means somebody in a sailing boat sets his sail to catch the wind, to carry him to a particular goal. Yeah? So he, Asvapati, is setting his sail. It's as if he's setting his sail, directing himself towards mysteried shores. Shorelines, lands that he doesn't know anything about, that are mysterious. Yeah? And that one who sets his sail towards mysteried shores is maybe driven through huge oceans by the breath of God, It's the wind that's blowing him, but he's being driven, guided by some divine power. The ocean is fathomless. It's so deep it can't be measured how deep it is. And all around him is the unknown. So for King Ashwapati, it's like that. He's setting off for some mysterious destination, being driven by the breath of God. Deeps below him, the unknown around him. His soul abandoned the blind star field space. It's leaving this material universe altogether. This blind star field space, material space, this universe. His soul is leaving this universe behind. Francesca.
Afar from all that makes the measured world, longing to hidden eternities, it withdrew back from mind's foaming surface to the vast voiceless within us in omniscient sleep.
Yes. So he's moving to a great distance, afar, far away from everything that makes this measured world, this world that is a world of limits and of measures. His soul is plunging, it's diving deep to hidden eternities. It withdraws from everything that makes this measured world, and it draws back into the inner deeps, away from the surface of the mind, which is bubbling, making bubbles like foaming water. The mind always moving swiftly, making this foam. It withdrew to those vasts, those limitless inner spaces, voiceless within. They are silent spaces. They are voiceless because they are in a kind of state that seems to us like sleep. But this is an all-knowing sleep, an omniscient sleep, a sleep that contains within itself all knowledge. That's there, Sri Aurobindo says, it's within us. Usually we don't go there. Ashwapati now leaves all this surface world and goes there. Would you read from the beginning of the sentence?
All voyaging there?
Above the yeah.
Above the imperfect reach of word and thought, beyond the sight that seeks support of form, lost in deep tracts of superconscious life, or voyaging in blank, featureless nothingness, so in the trackless, incommensurable, or past non-self and self and selfishness, transgressing the dream shores of conscious mind, he reached at last his
Sempiternal.
base.
Yeah, thank you. So he's going beyond mind, above the imperfect reach, the reach or range or scope of word and thought. Beyond the sight that needs to be supported by forms. he travels with different experiences, lost in deep tracts of superconscient light. Tracts are like areas, territories. He gets absorbed in these deep tracts of superconscient light, the higher light above our consciousness. Or traveling in what seems to be a blank, featureless nothingness, where you don't know where you are because there are no features, no landmarks, everything is blank, empty. Seems to be all alone, soul in the trackless, incommensurable. There are no paths or ways, no signs to show him where to go in this trackless, incommensurable. That which has nothing which can be measured against it. There's nothing that it can be compared with. Or, so this is another alternative, going past as if these are islands, these states of being, not self, self and selflessness, as if these are different modes of existence. He's going beyond these possibilities. He reached at last his sempiternal base. At last he arrives somewhere at his base, his foundation which is sempiternal. The word eternal we know. This word is made more emphatic by the addition of the Latin word semper, which means always, forever eternal. This base of his is sempiternal. And he reaches there by transgressing the dream shores of conscious mind. This word transgressing in English usually has a negative connotation. It means doing something that you shouldn't do. No? But if we look back at the literal root of the word, it just means going beyond. So if we transgress, we go beyond some kind of limit of acceptable behavior or what the law tells us to do. No? Here, what he's going beyond, stepping across and going beyond, are these dream shores, these borderlines, dreamy borderlines of conscious mind. At last he comes to somewhere which isn't a dream, which is his sempiternal base.
And sorrowless hates, knowingly high disturbs, pure and untouched above this mortal clay, he spread the spirit's hushed, immobile head.
So, heights, it's connected with high, even though it's spelt differently with this EI, it's pronounced high, heights, on heights that are free, completely free of all sorrow. No winging cry disturbs those heights. It's as if no bird, no prayer, nothing can reach those heights. On those heights is spread the spirit's hushed, immobile air, the atmosphere of the spirit, silent, unmoving, pure and untouched, above this mortal play, all this play which is subject to death and change. So he has reached the house of the spirit. Joanne.
There no beginning is, and there no end. There is the stable force of all that moves. There the Ionic laborer is at rest.
So it's beginningless and endless. There's something stable there, something that doesn't move, that doesn't change. But that stability, that stable, is a force. It's the force which moves everything that moves. There, the Aeonic laborer is at rest. This may be mind, or it may be perhaps the soul that struggles for progress through the eons, through the immeasurable stretches of time, eons, very, very vast stretches of time. So there's somebody who's been making a lot of effort through all the eons. When he reaches that stable, immobile air, he is at rest. We've got a very long sentence now. We'll have to break it up a bit. Perhaps you'll read to inconsequence and chance. Marie, if you would read here.
There turns no key creation in the void, no giant mechanism watched by the soul. There creaks no fate-turned huge machinery. The marriage of evil with good within one breast. The clash of strife in the very clasp of love. The dangerous pain of life's experiment in the values of inconsequence and chance.
Yes. So the first three lines present our universe as something mechanical, the keyed creation, as if it's like one of those toys that's been wound up by clockwork with a key and just set off on its way to run its little mechanical course, no? So when we reach the air of the spirit, there's no keyed creation turning round and round in the void, in the emptiness. The universe might look like that sometimes, no? Or it looks like a giant mechanism, if we're looking at it from inside, a giant mechanism that's watched, observed by a soul. This view of Prakriti with her mechanism just being observed by the Purusha. There creaks no fate-turned huge machinery. A kind of machine which is kept going by karma, by the consequences of what has been done. This machinery that's turning by fate, and creaking is the noise that an old rusty machinery makes, no? So there's none of all that. And now he's going to tell all the things that are not there. This marriage of evil and good within one breast. we are all mixed, no? Falsehood and truth in all of us. And we experience in our world, even in the clasp of love, when we are most one with somebody, there's always some friction, some conflict, the clash of strife. And there's this dangerous pain of life's experiment, the life force, always trying out new things in the values of inconsequence and chance, things that happen apparently for no reason, inconsequentially. It means there's no cause and effect. Things just happen by chance. It seems as if life is always playing with that, with the possibility of randomness. What will happen if? Mahalingam.
So the peril,
Yes.
the peril of mind's gamble, throwing our lives at stake in a wager of indifferent gods, and the shifting lights and shadows of the idea falling upon the surface consciousness, and the dream of a mute witness soul, creating the error of an off-seen world where knowledge is a seeking ignorance.
Thank you. The peril, the danger of this gamble, this game of chance, really. A game of chance where valuable things change hands on depending how the cards fall or the dice fall. That is a dangerous game, as if mind is throwing our individual lives as the stake, as what is to be won or lost by these indifferent gods. They don't care, they're just playing a game, no? And they make their bets without caring what is the outcome. And the shifting lights and shadows of the idea falling upon the surface consciousness, as if there's a play of light and shadow. The idea is a light, of course, but the way that then it falls on the surface consciousness, it has the effect of creating a kind of dream for the witness soul, the silent witness soul, which creates the error, all the mistakenness, the falsehood even, of this world which we only half see, where knowledge, even knowledge, is only ignorance searching, trying to grow, to gain more knowledge. When we have this combination of the shifting lights and shadows of the idea, we can't help thinking of Plato and his image when he says that, you know, the way that we see the world, we don't see the real thing, the idea. What we see are just reflections on the walls of the cave. And so we are out of that. Our soul is making some kind of interpretation of the world around us. But that's not a correct interpretation. And everything that we think we know is only a seeking ignorance. James.
Life's steps, a stumbling series without suit. Its aspect, of fortuitous design, its equal measure of the true and false, in that immobile and immutable realm. Find no access, no cause, no right to live.
Thank you. So this line about life's steps follows on from the previous lines, this half-seen world where knowledge is a seeking ignorance and life's steps, the steps of life, are a stumbling series, one step after another, stumbling, tripping over themselves, falling without suit, without sequence, without a connected sequence. Life's aspect, that side of life of fortuitous design. It seems like some kind of pattern, but it is by chance, fortuitous, by chance. Or maybe this is the half-seen world, and it has this equal measure of the true and false, the duality. All those things, all those qualities and aspects of the world that we know, when we come into the Spirit's air, when we come into that immutable, unchangeable, immobile, unchanging, unmoving realm, where everything is stable, motionless, still, all those things cannot even enter there. They find no access. And there's no cause for them there. How can they happen there? There's no right, no basis for them to exist in the Spirit's hushed, immobile air. Dr. Kyung?
There are only reigns for the Spirit motionless power, poised in itself to still eternity, and its omniscient and omnipotent peace.
Thank you. So there, it means in the Spirit's hushed, immobile air, the only thing that rules is the Spirit's own power, its motionless power, which is poised in itself. It has found a perfect equilibrium. It doesn't move, it doesn't change. It's poised in itself through still eternity. That motionless power and peace, it's omniscient and omnipotent peace. So the motionless power, the all-knowing and all-powerful peace, that's what rules in the house of the Spirit.
Peace can be powerful also.
Yes, peace can be powerful. True peace is powerful, and true power is peaceful. Yeah. Bhavan.
Thought clashes not with thought, and truth with truth. There is no war of right with right and right. There are no stumbling and half-seeing lines, passing from chance to unaccepted chance. No suffering of hearts compared to deed in bodies of the inner inconscious need.
Yes. It's so difficult for us to imagine that immobile power and omniscient peace. So Sri Aurobindo again and again has to tell us what it's not like. So there's no clashing contradiction of thoughts and even truths. One person is fixed on a particular truth. It clashes with somebody else's truth. And what one person or one set of people believe to be right clashes with some other group's sense of what is right. So their thought clashes not with thought, and truth doesn't clash with truth, and there's no war of right with rival right. It's a characteristic of our world of limitation and separation and division, that we find things to cling to that we feel are right and true, but those are contradicted by other rights and other truths. And there, in the realm of the spirit, there are no stumbling and half-seeing lives. That's our lives, no? Because we can't see properly, because our vision is imperfect, we are always stumbling. We're always tripping over ourselves, making mistakes. No? And we pass, or we seem to pass, from one chance to another unexpected chance. Happenings, unexpected things keep affecting us. And there's no suffering as there is here. The suffering of hearts that are compelled to beat in bodies of the inert inconscience make. It's one of the things that our hearts suffer from, is that they are limited by the possibilities of the body and the insensitivity of the bodies. The bodies are made out of matter, no? Of course living matter, but still it's matter. So that they are inert. They find it difficult to move. They've been made by that inconscient. So all that feeling of limitation and dissatisfaction and incapacity, that is all gone. Renana.
Armed with the immense occult's unseen fire, the guardians of eternity keep its law, forever fixed upon truth, by giant waves in her magnificence and
termless. Yes, termless. It means there's no term to it, there's no limit, no end to it. A terminus, you know, it's where the bus stops. A term is an end. So there in the house of the Spirit, the guardians of eternity, there are powers protecting that eternity. They are armed. They have their weapons, their protective weapons. The immune, occult, unsinking fire. Fire which is heat and light and energy, and which purifies and which represents will. So they are, this fire that they have is immune. It can't be damaged in any way. It's occult. It's not this physical fire that we know. It's a hidden inner fire, and it is unsinking. Fires burn up and then they go out, no? But this is an eternal, unsinking fire. The guardians of eternity keep its law, the law of eternity, of the Spirit, forever fixed on a foundation, a giant base of truth in her home, the home of truth, her magnificent and termless home. So there's the base of the laws of eternity in the home of truth. We'll stop there for today. Anybody has anything they want to ask?
This word fortuitous.
Fortuitous, by chance. One of the meanings, no, it's connected, I think, with the old Italian use of the word fortuna.
Fortuna.
Yeah, meaning chance. So shall we read this passage together? As one who sets his sail towards mysteried shores, driven through huge oceans by the breath of God, the fathomless below, the unknown around, his soul abandoned the blind star-field space. Afar from all that makes the measured world, plunging to hidden eternities, it withdrew back from mind's foaming surface to the vasts, voiceless within us, in omniscient sleep. Above the imperfect reach of word and thought, beyond the sight that seeks support of form, lost in deep tracts of superconscient light, or voyaging in blank featureless nothingness, soul in the trackless incommensurable, or past not self and selflessness, transgressing the dream shores of conscious mind, he reached at last his sempiternal base. On sorrowless heights no winging cry disturbs, pure and untouched above this mortal play is spread the spirit's hushed, immobile air. There no beginning is, and there no end. There is the stable force of all that moves. There the aeonic labourer is at rest. There turns no keyed creation in the void, no giant mechanism watched by a soul. There creaks no fate-turned huge machinery. the marriage of evil with good within one breast, the clash of strife in the very clasp of love, the dangerous pain of life's experiment in the values of inconsequence and chance, the peril of mind's gamble throwing our lives as stake in a wager of indifferent gods, and the shifting lights and shadows of the idea falling upon the surface consciousness, and in the dream of a mute witness soul, creating the error of a half-seen world, where knowledge is a seeking ignorance, life's steps a stumbling series without sweet, its aspect of fortuitous design, its equal measure of the true and false, in that immobile and immutable realm find no access, no cause, no right to live. There only reigns the Spirit's motionless power, poised in itself through still eternity, and its omniscient and omnipotent peace. Thought clashes not with thought, and truth with truth. There is no war of right with rival right. There are no stumbling and half-seeing lives passing from chance to unexpected chance. No suffering of hearts compelled to beat in bodies of the inert inconscience make. Armed with the immune, occult, unsinking fire, the guardians of eternity keep its law forever fixed upon truth's giant base in her magnificent and termless home.